YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, back in Total War Rome 2. We're in some more online battles, and this time I'll be leading Pontus versus Macedon. And some of you all may recognize this player. I actually played him not too long ago. He was the one that I said was from Argentina. It gave me a really great match in the Boii versus Rome. And this time it's going to be a Macedon versus Pontus match. And I've gone for a combination pike sword army here with some archers. One thing I like about Pontus as far as units go is they have the Noble Blood Cav, which is actually a pretty excellent unit for the cost. Melee cavalry in the game right now is a pretty formidable unit, and there's a couple of reasons why the Noble Blood Cav are good. Now, someone left some comments, or actually multiple people did not too long ago when I was talking about bonus versus cavalry and the Draco ability on the Romans, and they said that all horse units with spears, whether they're melee cav, or I think melee cav with spears, actually have a hidden bonus versus cavalry that you don't see. So that being the case, the high armor and the spear armament, along with the 46 attack, makes the Noble Blood Cav a fairly dangerous cav unit, both to infantry and cavalry. Now, the Bactrian Noble Horse actually has 36 weapon damage. A little less melee attack, but that makes it, again, even more formidable. It's a very tough unit. Noble Blood Cav will get beat by it head-on. But these guys are going to be very hard for a faction like Macedon to match, because Macedon has excellent charging cavalry, which is great at doing rear charges, of course, or just even front charges into infantry. They can get a lot of kills that way. But the hard time they're going to have is that they have Citizen Cav and Aspis Cav to throw against your melee Cav. Aspis Cav can hold its own, of course, but it's going to cost like twice as much as my Noble Blood Cav, so it's just easier for me to outnumber. Now, Thessalian Cav, Companion Cav, both of them will do well on the charge versus my Noble Blood Cav, but they will lose in the end because their melee defense is only 5. So that's their downfall. It's not their melee attack, because they do get a bonus versus large. Their melee attack would not necessarily end it for them. It's their, it's definitely, well, in this case for the Thessalians, their armor and their melee defense. For the Companions, it's mostly just their melee defense. So yeah. But this is the Oracle of Amun-Ra, once again. I actually fought Macedon not too long ago on this map, coming from the same position, but of course this time I'm coming with Pontus. You can see the armies lining up out there in the distance. Pretty cool. Let's check out the Oracle itself while we have just a second before the battle begins. Yeah, pretty slick. Cool map, really. It's a little unbalanced for one player, but it's not that bad. You can always just do like I did and come up this side here, and you get pretty even ground. So yeah, my formation, let's cover my army real quick too. So I've got 4 Levy Pikemen in the center, I've got 4 Eastern Archers, a Pontic Royal Cav for my general, 6 Pontic Swordsmen. These guys are going to be a little less effective than a Thorax Swordman. Let's see what the differences are. Let's see, melee defense, armor, so 57, 65, 55, 65, so slightly better melee defense, slightly better attack. Otherwise, it's a pretty equal gamble. Mine are cheaper, though, so it should be easier. So why did I bring the pikes? Again, not because I expect them to be able to beat down Macedonian infantry, only to protect my archers. That's the only reason I brought them. You can't punch through them with infantry from the front, you can't punch through with cav, and then I have enough cavalry to support on the flanks along with my swordsmen. So, yeah, my opponent got a little close here, and so I decided to countercharge while he was turning around, catch him from behind. Works out nice for me. I'm going to get some kills without being charged against some of his shot cav, and then I use my general here to run down some of his skirmishers. I am going to take some javelin fire and stuff on the way back, but it was a worthwhile venture to keep his Peltis from being able to get within range of my pikes. Now, I don't care if he uses some of his Peltis ammo on my pikes. I just want to make sure that he doesn't kill them quickly enough to cause me any trouble, because my pikes are somewhat expendable, and it gives my archers time to shoot down his Peltis. Now, his guys have shields, see that? And they're decently armored, so it's going to take a number of volleys for me to kill him. My opponent's cav really never got away over here, so he went ahead and charged in with other units. I intercepted his Aspis cav with just one of my Noble Blood cav, and now I'll bring my swords to bear on him like this, try and come around and pin his Aspis cav and kill it. Well, I guess straight into the back there, but I'm going to come around with this unit. Whereas my Noble Blood cav is going to have an easier time chopping down his shot cav. And once again, I'm going to bring my general out, and since he has no cav, so if you notice this, he's missing any cav on this side of the battlefield, so I'm going to shoot this gap and get behind his lines. So my opponent doesn't want to engage my pike straight on, so he is kind of making some move towards one flank. And what I'm going to do here is actually chase off this Peltus unit with my expendable Thurio spears that's over here. I'll just keep chasing them. For some reason, they're acting kind of weird, but I'll chase them. While the cav fight's wrapping up, you can see that his mercenary, or his Aspis cav, doing a great job knocking down that one unit, but now it's reinforced by swordsmen that it didn't get a charge on, and it's going to get cut down eventually. And again, watch my general. He's running all over the back. He's going to take out these skirmishers and then be able to swing on over to that Thessalian cav that's come back from routing. And at this point, this Peltus unit is zoned out, so it's out of the game. Can't affect the infantry fight. I don't need the Thurio spear because I'm not worried about my backline. This allows me to outflank his Royal Peltus that's here. It's a very tough unit. As long as I can get into its flank, that'll be great. Yeah, and then here I'm able to intercept this Royal Peltus. It was charging in towards this fight, which is bad that he let it get intercepted like that, because see how it keeps trying to go on towards the fight, and I would not be getting this many kills if that weren't the case. And then now I can focus fire all my archers into the flank and back of these thorax swords. These guys would otherwise be difficult targets for archers, but in this position, they're fairly easy pickings. This leaves my opponent with little choice but to try and, do something to break through my center here. So he's going to bring in this sword unit, which won't be able to break through these pikes, at least not quickly, probably not at all. And it's going to leave it vulnerable to rear charges. So look here, a beat-up unit of Noble Blood Cav just to intercept this thorax sword and hold it. So, yeah, that's going to be great for me. And I'm trying to swing this one around into a rear charge, but I accidentally got hung up for a second. And again, just my pikes and swords are able to keep him from outflanking. But here comes that rear charge. Noble Blood Cav into the back of the thorax swords. So that's going to be brutal. And then I made sure to click an attack order with my pikes so they push forward. So we should be able to mop up that thorax sword. Yeah, and out here, my general is being threatened by that thorax swordsman, but we can just stay away from it. I'll just pull over here. So that was the last bit of my opponent's infantry. So in this case, my plan worked out. My opponent, I think, brought a fairly capable infantry corps. The problem was going to be his cavalry, and he brought that one Aspis cav, which is good. Aspis cav is a great cav unit, and don't get me wrong, Thessalian cav are a decent cav. They used to be better in previous patches, but they're still a decent cav, but I would actually find them more useful in support of an existing cav fight, as opposed to actually being a main component of the cav fight. So, for instance, if you paired them up, which, again, won't be cost-effective because my Noble Blood cav is relatively affordable, but if you had a Citizen cav to take on a melee cav from the front, while or if you, for instance, your shock cavalry charges from the front, gets some kills, withdraws, and you replace it with a Citizen cav. You could do something like that, or replace it with an infantry unit, something to that order. It's got to be able to charge and withdraw, and it's going to be hard to get enough kills with it against cavalry. I really think it's a unit that's best suited for charging infantry, which is kind of counterintuitive to previous patches in Rome 2, but I do believe that's probably the best way to go. So you can see his Royal Peltus, they kind of got outnumbered on the flank there and then took a lot of archer fire as well. Unable to be cost effective. They were two perfectly capable units, and they could have killed a great number of my Pontic swordsmen in the right scenario. Honestly, I think that my opponent should have been a little less forward with his cavalry there. He put a lot of threat on my flank with it, but he didn't really have the right cavalry to threaten me there. So if he would have held it in reserve, maybe just kept one or two units. In fact, I wouldn't have. Well, yeah, he had to keep something there to protect his Peltus. If he would have left his, say, his Aspis cav to protect the Peltus units in the center, and then just taken his Peltus up against my pikemen, split all of his infantry to the flanks, try to chop through my flanks while your Peltus just kill some of my pikemen, and then that one Aspis cav back there would have kept my general from being able to get to your Peltus. And then you would have just had to stall for time, basically, in the cav fight on the flanks. Just stall to try until your infantry can win an engagement. Would have been tricky. I honestly think that I just ended up having an army that made the job a little easier for me here. But it was definitely a fun battle. I appreciate getting to play my opponent again. And if he's from Argentina, man, you got to be excited about Argentina in the World Cup right now. Coming out of the group stage with 9 points. It's a pretty exciting deal. Actually, I have a lot of people who work with me that are from Argentina, so I know that they're pretty psyched about it. In any case, HeirofCarthage, signing off for now.